Watch fans, today we're going to be looking at the Zenith Defy Primero. This limited edition watch is one that has definitely caught my attention, and I'm sure it will definitely catch yours as well. Now, when we're looking at a piece that offers tourbillon features, typically we know that it's going to be a little bit higher end when it comes to the cost because the tourbillon itself is always going to be one of those features that requires a lot more in detail, and it requires a lot more for the watch itself. It's going to be the master level of expertise when it comes to true watch making. And this watch not only does it once, it does it twice. And it does it in two separate ways or functions that I find to be more than amazing when it comes to horology itself. So the watch itself is going to give us a few features that are going to be independent, but that also run simultaneously. Whenever we look at a chronograph itself, we know that the chronograph typically is going to be a part of the main movement, not with this defy. And that's exactly what it's doing. It's defying all the rules that we are used to, and it is giving us something totally different, something that is very unique, and I absolutely love that. So when I say defy and I say that everything is going to run separate, yet can still be ran simultaneously, we're talking about the main feature of the watch, which you can see that the tourbillon itself will continue to run. Now, the way that you control and power that is you actually wind the crown counterclockwise. When you do it counterclockwise, it's giving the power to the main movement itself. Now, the main movement itself has its own barrel, so it releases its own energy, and it does it in a way that is more than smooth. It gives it a generous amount of power reserve. When we talk about 50 hours for this watch itself, and then when we actually turn forward, you'll notice that on the dial, there's actually a little chronograph meter that shows you the power reserve on the chronograph itself. So you know how much you have for your power reserve on your chronograph. Now that one is a little bit different. Whereas we have a 50-hour power reserve that is self-winding for this 90-20 movement that you'll actually find encased in the back of this watch itself. The chronograph is going to be completely separate. That is manual wind only and gives you up to 50 minutes. Well, a lot of people would even say instantly, why would I want 50 minutes on my chronograph when I'm used to having it for 60? Well, this one runs a little bit different. This one is not going to give you your standard seconds. You know, as a child, we would always say, what's the best way to count a second? Well, this one actually gives it to you, and it says it to you the adult way. So I can remember playing hide and go seek as a child, and we would say 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. Well, if you look at the movement on this watch, it really does count just that way. So I guess it may have pointed me out a little bit because I would find a way to kind of rush that count as a kid because I wanted to be the first one to tag and it not be my turn because I did not like being it. Well, the El Primero, this one would have defied me and defied all odds against it. I absolutely love a few of the features that you do find different on this one too. So whereas the tourbillon for the main watch itself is going to be separate for the one for the chronograph, it actually gives you a nice little buzzing or humming sound. So it lets you know too when you have it activated without even looking at your wrist. You can actually hear the sound of the chronograph running. So that 50 minutes that you have, you know in power reserve by visually looking, but you can also hear it in the background. Now, at 10 pulses per second, this actually gives you so much accuracy when you're talking about the seconds itself. So the second hand is going to go around once every second, okay? But you do not lose your 30-minute counter either. That's going to be on the dial as well. You'll still have your two sub-dials that'll be there as your chronograph goes around once every second. This movement absolutely is groundbreaking. It's one of those things that I find to be more than fun. And when you break it down cost-wise, you're talking about less than $35,000 per tourbillon. That's fantastic. That's something that we almost have not heard of until Tag Heuer actually released their tourbillon a few years ago at the few or the last of those bezel worlds that we would all have a chance to enjoy. They really did a good job in actually doing something very unique, very different, and defying, again, all of the odds when it came to this. For those who know Zenith or don't know Zenith, the Zenith brand itself actually created its name or will always have a long-lasting name when it came to the original Daytonas. That Rolex chronograph is one that they had originally made for them, and it would be one that they would make until Rolex would go into their own in-house movements. But please understand that this is a large feat when it comes to the quality of horology. This is a long way from just making a chronograph that is accurate and amazing. This is creating tourbillons in a way that tourbillons should have always been showcased. And I believe that Zenith did a fantastic job of doing it. This is a limited edition piece that does come with the additional strap in black as well. Carbon fiber, very lightweight at 46 millimeters. It's a piece that you can wear, you can enjoy, and you don't have to feel it while you're actually wearing it as well. I think that they looked at every single detail in mastering the tourbillon itself, and they gave us something to continue to strive for more achievement in. We want to know what your comments are, so tell us below here at Swiss Watch Expo.